Alright, you might have read my review of Boris Becker's book. Of course, since there are no images of the Hochbunker online, you might be hesitant to buy the book, and it's very likely that most bookshops will actually not carry it. So I thought I'll just make a quick video showing you some of the work. So this is the book, and open it up, and there's the obligatory text, and let's see. Alright. And then these are some of these Hochbunkers, these air raid shelters, and you can see they're done just like a standard Düsseldorf typology. Here's one that looks like it was converted into an apartment building, which is very charming. So they're all very different, and this one is from my hometown. I actually do remember that one. And then it keeps going with many more. Okay, well, this is actually also my hometown. This is kind of interesting because for some reason there's a bit missing. I actually don't know what happened. I never asked my parents or anything, but you can see here, this is actually the wall. And to get a scale, you know, this is a bench, so you can tell how thick the walls were. I guess this one also has a gigantic hole in it. They might have tried to demolish them. Alright, and then a little more. There's a whole bunch of them, of course. Some of them don't even really look like air raid shelters. They look like standard houses. And then you see this is kind of the transition to the color work, because you can tell there's an air raid shelter here, and right next to it are these newish apartment buildings. And then of course you get your fancy architecture. If you can't demolish the bunker, you might as well build something on top. This is in Berlin. So there's something I didn't mention in the review. There's some details of the entrances. You can, if you just, I don't know whether this will show nicely here, but here you can see the eagle with the swastika removed. These are the I don't think you would want to call them windows, but and some of the Nazi art. This one says built 1941 with this very odd woman and a bunch of children. Same thing here, which is actually pretty creepy. I guess this woman is handing over this child to this man, I don't know. And then the various eagles, all with their swastikas removed. Some Nazi art. And then there's the transition to this is the only image you can actually, no, is this, I think this image you can find online. So these are the painted air raid shelters, and you can tell why you actually want to see this in color. And I think you can also tell why this is, if you look at this picture, it looks very Düsseldorf, but I think just showing it in color adds another dimension to the series. And in this case it's obvious why you actually want to show it in color. This artwork is dedicated to the opponents and victims of fascism. This one is just bad public art. You can see they painted this one to make it look like a house. And that's it. That's the Hochbunker series. I mentioned in my review there also is a series about just houses, which I think is pretty nice. You know, these odd shapes. It's kind of interesting. It maybe is a little bit related to the that one short Becker series about the houses that all have, I forgot what the term is. You know, it's kind of a little boring series. So there's houses, and then I don't think that the rest of the book is all that interesting. There's a series on fields, and then you keep going, and there's, I don't know, untitled I mean, it basically gets very much into these kinds of architectural shots of weird structures. It's all nicely done, but I'm not particularly crazy about this photography. It's just I don't know. You might have a different opinion about this. So this is the book. You know, there's actually at the end, and then there's a series on fakes. These are this is actually made of cocaine. And cocaine paint is also cocaine. So it's a nicely printed book, and for somebody who's interested in topologies, this is really something you want to get.